Okay, I want to continue talking about Rameir's instructions for the good life. Rameir says, "Gemar b'chol levav v'chol nafsh v'chol das is durachai." Right? So a person should commit with all his heart, with all his soul, to know my ways. Capital M, the ways of Hashem. Okay, so I want to give you a sense. I want to give you a clue of what we're looking for. Meaning, the ways of Hashem. What does it mean, the ways of Hashem? Where do you look? How do you look? What are we looking for? So there's a clue. And the clue is right there in front of us. The ways of Hashem are clearly something to which we could commit b'chol lev b'chol nefesh, right? From which you can infer that anything to which we cannot commit b'chol lev b'chol nefesh is not Darchei Hashem. Right? That's built into the statement. Darchei Hashem is what? It's the object of the wholehearted commitment. So that means like this: anything which you cannot give your whole heart to and your whole soul to, it's not Darchei Hashem. So that rules out a lot of things. It means to say like this. It means to say any idea which you wouldn't run with to the end is not the ways of Hashem. And this is, I want to tell you, this is a major shortcut of knowing Darchei Hashem. Basically, you can just take any thought you have, any idea that you have, and ask yourself, is this something I want to commit b'chol lev b'chol nefesh? For example, you want to eat. Eating is always a very good example because we do a lot of it, and of course the Torah is very concerned with eating. Starting from the Eitz Hadas, that is, the garden. Gan Eden is a garden, So you want to eat something, right? So that's a thought, that's a desire, it's an emotion, it's a feeling. Would you commit to that b'chol lev b'chol nefesh? Meaning, would you really allow yourself to become one, to become misamek, to deeply think about this ratzon that you have, and to defend it and be committed to it against any challenges? Now, usually the answer is going to be no. Which I mean to say is like this: you're going to say, no, this is not the full me. I'm not fully committed to this. Why? Because there are contradictory values to the fact you want to desire. Meaning, the fact that you desire to eat. Meaning, even if you believe in your desire, even if it's not a pure taiva, even if you say, no, the taiva is coming, the desire to eat is coming from a good place, it's because I'm hungry, it's because God created human beings with urges, which we call desire, and needs, and desires to indicate, to signify that there is a need. But there's going to be an element of your desire that you're not fully committed to. Meaning to say, what do I mean not fully committed to? You're going to say, well, yeah, I might have this desire, but there are other conflicting values. There are other things that work against what I'm doing right now, and that I believe in this, but only somewhat. Only to some extent. What if I say I want to eat? What if I really start thinking about eating and why it's good? Why it's right? And I strip out all base desire and all selfishness, such that I get to the core of what eating is really about and why it's right. Okay? So now I have an opinion, a shita, right? A guy sits down to a meal, he has a shita. Everyone has a shita. Everything you do is a shita. Everything is a derech. Everything is a das and a derech. The question is, what are your ideya and what's your derech? And this is the amazing test. If you have a shita that's all worked out, and you commit to it, b'chol lev b'chol nefesh. And commit b'chol lev b'chol nefesh means you're willing to take the same idea that you have now and say, this idea I have now is 100% pure, and I can use it in every other circumstance in life, and it's always going to work. That, by definition, is the way of Hashem. That's the definition of the way of Hashem, because the ways of Hashem are those ways of being, those paths of reality that always work, okay? That are equally applied. So there's a major element of unity and fragmentation over here, meaning Hashem echad v'ahavta, es Hashem elokecha b'chol levav v'chol nafshecha. If you have a unified theory, meaning if you have some idea, passion, desire, thought, urge, which stands the test of unity, meaning to say, It's not a fragmented idea. It's not an idea that only works in a very particular situation. It's rather something which can be universalized, globalized, extended to Kol. Okay? And that's an idea that reflects Hashem Echad. So that's Meir's key point. And I want to tell you another point, which is that if you live this way, I spoke about this last time, that there's two steps. And then because what happens is like this. If you live your whole life with Darchei Hashem, and you're always committed to ideas that you're going to apply everywhere, okay, then you're basically a perfect person who knows everything, right? And then you learn the Torah, and the Torah sometimes tells you to do what's right, what you're there, what makes sense in terms of the drachim. Sometimes doesn't, and that's the idea of Torah. Torah is more than Darchei Hashem. It's something different than Darchei Hashem. And for the Torah to really operate on you, as it should, you have to be gomer b'chol nefesh to know Darchei Hashem. So there's no room for anything else. When there's no room for anything else, and then you hear a law that says do this, do that, despite the fact that there is really no room for anything else, that's when you're actually a slave. That's when you're actually an eved. That's when you're actually following law. That's when you actually come facing something that's above you, mindas. I mentioned last time, you have to have the full das drachai, which means our knowledge of Hashem as He is known to us, and then you have that in a full way, and then you could be shekel al dasei terasi. So basically, this is something you can do all the time. You can do it all the time. You can take anything, any thought, any feeling, and ask yourself, is this kol lev v'chol nefesh, or is it false? Basically, you're pushing. You want to see how true is anything. How true is any thought you're having. You're thinking about something. You're studying something. You're reading something. You're eating something. You're doing something. You're talking to someone. You're engaged in business. Are you committed to this b'chol lev v'chol nefesh? If yes, you're on the path of Hashem. If not, you're on your own path, I guess, or call it path of the Satan. Lots of names for it.